Okay, let's get into it. We are doing a deep dive today on something that feels, well, increasingly urgent. Artificial General Intelligence, AGI, and its potentially massive impact on the economy, on society.
Hmm.
Specifically, what happens when AI gets to the point where it can do, a lot of the jobs people do right now, maybe most.
Yeah, and for this deep dive, we're leaning pretty heavily on a recent piece from Time.com. It's called "What Happens When AI Replaces Workers," and honestly, the picture it paints, the sense of urgency, it's quite something.
It really is. The source makes it clear this isn't just like academic speculation anymore. We're actually hearing warnings about this directly from major players, people in the AI world.
Exactly. CEOs of big AI companies like Anthropic, head of Fiverr, executives from LinkedIn, they're sounding the alarm.
Right. That Anthropic CEO, Dario Amodei,
Mm.
the source quotes him suggesting AI could wipe out maybe half of all entry-level white-collar jobs.
Half, and within just 5 years. That's
Yeah.
soon. And LinkedIn's already seeing AI impact new grads trying to find work.
That's a pretty powerful signal, isn't it?
Yeah.
When it comes from inside the industry that's actually building this stuff. And look at the money. The source mentions over $1 trillion being poured into building towards AGI. Governments are backing it too.
So, yeah, our mission today is really to unpack the core arguments from this source. What's it saying about this coming wave of technological unemployment? What are the potential consequences? Maybe some less obvious ones. And crucially, does the author suggest any paths forward? What do we do?
Because this isn't some far-off sci-fi thing, according to the article. AGI, and they define it pretty clearly.
Uh-huh. As a highly autonomous system that outperforms humans at most economically valuable work.
Basically, AI that's better than us at most jobs that make money.
Right. And it's poised to hit the entire labor market. The prediction is white collar first, playing to current AI strength, but then moving into blue collar jobs as the robotic side catches up. It could fundamentally change your job, the company you work for, even like how your government relates to you. And the timeline people in the industry are talking about, it's surprisingly close. AGI between maybe 2026 and 2035.
And widespread job displacement following pretty soon after that, according to many who are actually building these systems.
And the basic economics laid out in the source, well, they're pretty stark from just an efficiency view. Training a big AI model costs a lot up front, sure, but running copies, super cheap, and getting cheaper
So
fast.
post AGI, an AI could probably do your job not just better, but way, way cheaper.
Which leads to this really profound challenge the article gets into. What happens to our basic deal with the economy? Historically, our whole modern system relies on this trade. You work, give your time, your skills, and you get paid.
Right. Workers have leverage, power to bargain, because the economy needs us. Needs our skills, our judgment. Needs us to buy stuff too. We create value.
We've always been essential for that value creation. But what if AI can create value more efficiently? That traditional link, that dependency, it could weaken, maybe even break entirely.
For potentially the first time ever on
Yeah.
this kind of scale. Capital in the form of advanced AI could almost totally replace human labor.
Exactly. If machines generate value better and cheaper, companies might not need human workers for profit in the same way, and governments. They might not need that broad base of human income for tax revenue either.
Okay, and this is where the source introduces a concept that's, well, it's both fascinating and pretty concerning. They call it the intelligence curse.
Yeah, the intelligence curse. It draws a parallel to the resource curse,
Yeah.
like in oil-rich states where governments get rich from oil, so maybe they don't invest in their people's skills or infrastructure because they don't need to economically.
They've got the oil money flowing in regardless.
Right. So the intelligence curse suggests a similar risk. If powerful actors, governments, big corporations, get their value mainly from AI, not human work,
Right.
they might lose the incentive to invest in people, or even care that much about the general population's well-being. If they don't need you economically, maybe they just stop prioritizing you.
Wow. Okay, that's a heavy potential consequence. It shifts the power dynamic fundamentally.
Hmm.
But the source doesn't just leave it there,
Mm.
right? It argues this isn't inevitable. We have choices. Choices about how we build this tech.
And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. The source looks at different ways people are thinking about handling powerful AI, especially the big risks, AI safety, misuse for things like bioweapons, the existential stuff.
Sure.
And a lot of the proposed solutions focus on, like, centralizing control,
Right.
regulation, tracking models, permits for training, strict licensing.
Which kind of makes sense from a security angle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like controlling nuclear materials or something.
It does. But the source points out something critical here. AGI isn't just a potential weapon, it's also a potential means of production, like factories, but for intelligence.
Ah, okay. And centralizing the means of production.
Hmm.
That's always been about power, hasn't it? Economic power, societal power, not just safety.
Precisely. So the source suggests maybe we shouldn't just focus on bottling up AGI like a dangerous substance. What about an alternative? Widely diffusing the technology, but at the same time, developing really advanced ways to defend against the threats, using technology itself.
So use AI to fight AI risks.
Kind of. Use AI to secure critical systems, pour money into AI-powered biosecurity defenses, like an Operation Warp Speed, but for AI alignment and safety. The argument is, if we can use tech to handle the biggest dangers, maybe we can spread the technology more broadly, keep power distributed.
And that ties into pushing for human-boosting AI over human automating AI. I like that distinction.
It's a really powerful way to frame it. Remember Steve Jobs calling computers bicycles for the mind? The source suggests AGI could be more like a motorcycle for the mind, something that dramatically amps up what humans can do.
Instead of just taking over the task completely.
Exactly. And there's already a market growing for tools that augment people.
Right.
Startups building tools to help you do your job better, faster.
And the idea is building those tools now could lead to tools that are human-owned later.
Yeah.
Human-controlled. Tools that maybe capture your specific way of working, your,
Yeah.
what does the source call it? Tacit knowledge?
Yeah, your tacit knowledge, the stuff that's hard to write down but makes you good at what you do, creating a kind of personal data moat.
A personal data vote.
Yeah.
So my unique skills, my workflows, that becomes the valuable thing. I train my AI on my data.
That's the concept. You create a specialized tool that makes you more powerful, amplified by AI.
Which brings us right back to that core theme in the source. Power and ownership. The choice, as they put it, is stark. Is the future the AI and capital of a few replacing the masses?
Or the AI and capital of us all. Yeah. The call is to build and support tech that lets regular people train their own AIs, run them cheaply, control their data. So instead of a few giant companies controlling everything, maybe you own your slice of the AI future. Run your business, do your work, powered by AI you manage.
So my role changes. Maybe I'm not doing the task directly, but I'm managing the AI systems doing it, like a CEO manages departments.
Or maybe steering them, like a board-set strategy. Even if the AI does the task better, if you own and control that system, you keep a lot more power and agency. It's different from just relying on, say, universal basic income, where your value comes from a government handout.
Right. The source kind of adapts G.K. Chesterton, suggesting maybe the issue isn't AI capitalism, but needing more capitalists, more people owning the productive capital, which now includes AI.
A broader ownership base.
And beneath all this, the source really hammers home the need to strengthen our institutions, our governance, democracy itself, bolster them before AGI fully hits and potentially rewrites the economic rules.
Because if we get to that intelligence curse point, where governments and big companies don't economically need most people, then strong, resilient institutions are what ensure people still have a voice, still have power, can still, win in that new reality.
It describes what's happening now as an AGI race and warns that maybe much of the world hasn't quite grasped the urgency yet. These labs are training AI right now on the skills needed to outcompete us.
Yeah. This deep dive, drawing on that Time article, it really lays out the potential stakes, doesn't it? This
Yeah.
transformation could radically redefine work, value, power, everything.
Absolutely. It highlights that risk of widespread tech unemployment, maybe coming faster than we think,
Yeah.
and that chilling idea of the intelligence curse.
Yeah, the risk societies lose the incentive to invest in their own people.
But importantly, it does offer those alternative paths, using tech for defense, focusing on AI that boosts humans, not just replaces them.
And critically, enabling broad ownership,
Yeah.
letting individuals control their piece of the AI pie, becoming managers or steerers, not just displaced workers.
And that point about strengthening institutions now, before the economic ground shifts too much, that feels absolutely vital. Ensuring power doesn't just pool with whoever owns the best AI.
This AGI race, as the source calls it, it forces us all, really, to think about our future roles, the whole shape of the economy.
It really does. And it leaves us with some incredibly profound questions to mull over, the same ones the source finishes with.
Can we actually use AI to lift ourselves up before the AI labs train the models that replace us?
Can we keep control of the economy, even if AI becomes super intelligent?
And can we build a future where power still genuinely comes from the people?
Yeah. The source leaves answering those questions pretty powerfully, up to all of us.
Yeah.
That's the challenge right in front of us now.